Hi, good evening, and welcome to the Jon Gaunt Show. Tonight, is Starmer a serial liar and failure? Can you trust Labour anymore? That's the question. After Reeves wasn't sacked, he's not going to go either. What a bloody mess we're in, and I'll show you that as this show progresses. Because is Starmer, this is the question, is he proving to be a serial liar or just a serial failure? I'm going to go through his record in a minute. His record so far is a disaster zone. We'll start off with Freebie Gate. What about the winter fuel allowance? What about Louise Haigh and the mysterious disappearing phone? What about the small boats crisis? How about the Bell Hotel, where the government went with the illegals? What about migrant hotel sexual crimes? What about Angela Rayner and her stamp duty? What about Mandelson, the nonces best mate? What about the Chagos Isles? What about the farmers' inheritance tax? Shall I stop in a minute? What about the BBC mess? What about early prison release? Free speech rows? How about Southport, when he called us all far-right thugs? The list is endless. Tell me your views. We're starting early tonight, but I want your opinion, and I want it now. Put it into the little comment box, and we'll come to you as soon as I can. But there's a lot to talk about, an awful lot. Today, did you see the press conference he gave this morning? Yesterday, I called him a dictator, but it's worse than that. He's completely and utterly deluded. He is living on a different planet to the rest of us. And it doesn't look to me as if he's got any intention of joining the real world. No intention of listening to what we want. He went on about what the budget was and the fact that he's raised, allegedly, these people, 500,000 kids out of poverty. It all smells of bullshit to me. What about you? By the way, can you hear me? I've not got any comments coming in. I'm a little bit concerned you're perhaps not hearing me. Just tell me, yeah, I can hear you, Gaunty, loud and clear. Yeah. Somebody here says, go away. Oh, thank you. So he's listening. Anyway, listen. So what's happened is today he stood up and he defended Rachel Reeves. Why? Well, because they're joined at the hip. He knows if she goes, he'll have to go. But after what's happened this year, surely to God, he should be going anyway. Thank you, Richard Pope. He says, loud and clear, John. Here's the man. Look at this one. John Hare, go away. Looks like you'll be going soon, John. Well, before me, that's for sure. But anyway, that's a separate issue. Let's get on with the show. We are going to start the shows at 6 from now on. So I'm sorry if that surprised a few of you. You'll join in as we go on. But what I want to talk to you about today, I think he's totally deluded. He's not said sorry. He thinks the budget was a triumph. He said we could have done other things. And then he comes out with this trite nonsense about we could have cut we could have cut the NHS. We could have not pulled kids out of poverty. It's all emotional BS. I wrote a tweet while it was going on. I got thousands of responses to it. It says, Starmer is standing there in this press conference, taking questions from the BBC and Sky, but ignoring them and not giving any real answers. This miserable failure of a PM and a government cannot be allowed to carry on. He is wrecking our country. Then this afternoon, she was meant to go and answer questions in the Commons, Rachel Reeves. Guess what? She chickened out, just like Starmer a few weeks ago. He was meant to go, and he didn't go. This government has got no regard for our institutions, no regard for the Commons, And then they've been going on and on today about the OBR, Office for Budget Responsibility. And I see the head honcho there has resigned. But that's no good, is it? That won't make a bit of difference. People aren't upset that that idiot or that organisation dropped the budget too early. It's all the leaks that happened before. And it's the substance of the budget. The fact that this budget was for the feral, the feckless, the freeloaders, the foreigners, the flip-flop boys. It wasn't for you and me. Anybody who dares to try and create a business, anybody who dares to get up to go to work, it was just squeezing you again. Because Starmer, and I'm convinced of this now, he hates the ordinary working man and working woman of this country. Hates everything we stand for. He'd rather flood us with the flip-flop warriors, which is what he's doing. We went through this yesterday. And I tell you what, the response to yesterday's show was unbelievable. Some of the biggest audience figures I've ever had, and the emails and the reactions and the texts afterwards were just brilliant. But I've got to tell you, ladies and gents, by the way, it's the Jon Gaunt podcast. I think it's worse than I even said yesterday. I really do. I think we're in a dreadful position. What if there was suddenly a war? All this saber rattling with Russia and indeed China. Would you want to go into any conflict with that man in charge? He is a nightmare. As I keep saying, he's got the Midas Touch in reverse. Everything he touches turns to SH1T. Wouldn't it be fairer to him and to us to admit defeat now and just go, Starmer? We've just got to get rid of him. It just can't continue like this, can it? Are you with me or are you against me? I need your views. Let me go through the 14 months of hell that we've had. I've never known a prime minister or a government with so much and so many problems, all of their own making. I won't bore you with going into the detail because we all know the detail. It's etched, it's tattooed on our brains, isn't it? But just for a quick reminder, it all started off with Freebie Gate, didn't it? All suits you, sir, where he was talking about his £2,000 suits and his £2,000 glasses, all paid for by the mysterious Lord Ali. Then his son did his revision in his £18 million penthouse for his A-levels. But the dates didn't seem to add up because it looked like the dates were after the A-levels had been taken. Then there was the clothes for his wife. Then there was the attack on the pensioners. One manifesto page ripped out. The winter fuel allowance. Yes, in the end, he did an embarrassing U-turn on it, but only because of you, because of public pressure. Then there was Louise Haigh. Do you remember her? She had the purple hair. She's the one who had a mobile phone. Then the mobile phone went missing. She didn't she reported it to the police, but then mysteriously it turned up again, so she used it. And then she got the sack because it was the company's phone. This was before she was in government. Then before she was in government, Rachel Thieves was rather creative with her CV, shall we say. Other people would say she's a liar, just like she lied. I mean, did Starmer think today with that ridiculous press conference he would convince us that she hadn't lied about the budget and about the money? It's just they're taking the mick. They're taking us for mugs even. Are you with me or against me? Put a comment on the thing, please, on the comment box, and I'll be coming and reading those out very, very soon. I just think we're in a terrible position. Then we've got the flip-flop warriors, the small boats crisis, which he hasn't got on top of at all. You could solve that problem tomorrow, as I keep saying. Navy in the Channel, Army on the beach, detain people, and basically send people straight back. Excuse me, I'm going to sneeze. He clearly doesn't want to do that. And I think this is tied up with this whole dictator bit. He doesn't like us. He does not like the working class of this country. That's why he doesn't use the term working class. He says working people. What the flipping heck does that mean? And how much longer does he want to play Russian roulette with our wives, our daughters, our children, by placing men who, listen, I'm not saying they're all rapists, but he can't say they're not. He doesn't even know who they are, doesn't even know who one of them are in those boats. They should not be under a position where they can come and go from a hotel with squeezy soap. They should be under lock and key in old camps, and they should be in tents. There should be a deterrent. Don't need to go through all this again, do I? Then you've got Angela Rayner, who didn't think she should pay the right stamp duty. He had to sack her in the end. I think Rachel Reeves will go in the next day or so, but I want him to go. At last, on TV now, the commentators are saying he won't last past May. He shouldn't last beyond the blooming Christmas lights being turned off. Did you see that? He actually managed to do that correctly today. He's put the lights on. We got a little kid to put the lights on in Downing Street. I can't bear the bloke. I can't bear what he's doing to our country. Then there's the bits of our country that he's given away. What about the Chagos Isles? What's all that about? Give it to Mauritius, i.e. give it to China. Then there is China. Let them have a brand new embassy right where all our communications are. Then he attacks Farage and says, what about his Russian links? Well, I want to know, what about your China links? Are you giving them the biggest takeaway in history? Then, talking about takeaways, let's talk about the farmers' inheritance tax. Farmers getting handcuffed and arrested for daring to protest. And then you've got the BBC, who probably didn't even bother reporting on it. Look at the mess the BBC is in. What's he doing about it? Jack all. Then there's the early prison releases. Then the attacks on free speech, including people like Lucy Connolly. Then that leads us now nicely into Southport. The slaughter in Southport. And the fact that he didn't tell people who it was early enough. So what happened? People filled that vacuum, that information vacuum. So here we are. And then the classic one, and I've just got to say, I've just noticed you've mentioned it as well, Lisa Carvel. I'm coming to all your comments now. Lisa Carvel, good Coventry girl, on YouTube says, his ultimate aim is to get us back into the EU. Too right it is, Lisa. He actually let the cat out of the bag today in that press conference. He talked about getting closer links with the EU. He's living on a different planet. You'd have thought today, I've said this before, why hasn't he got any humility? You know, why doesn't he come and say, about Southport, for example, do you know what? I was wrong to call people far-right thugs. There were clearly some far-right thugs, but I should have told you all more. And then he should have gone over to those women who shouted at him and called him a wanker in Southport, excuse my language. Blair, or a real leader, I'm no big fan of Blair, he'd have gone over and put his arm around them and said, look, I'm sorry about this. There's nothing I can do about what's happened today, but I can assure you it will never happen again. He never does that. He does it for Zelensky. He does it about Ukraine. He doesn't do it for us and for our country. This is why I'm saying I don't believe he's a patriot. He's a European. Definitely. And he's turning into a dictator because he won't take any criticism. Look at how shirty and bolshy she was on the Sunday programs when she was asked about the budget. It's now come out. She's clearly lied. Now, I'm a bit old-fashioned. In the old days, if you lied in public office, you had to resign. Not with Labour. They've turned lying into a new art form. Do you agree with me? I just cannot believe what is happening in our country. And as I say, and as Lisa just pointed out, he wants us back in the EU, either by the back door or through the front door. That's what he's edging towards. We've got to have closer cooperation. Today, he blamed the financial situation we're in on Brexit. Now, I can see how you could blame it on the pandemic or partly on the pandemic, but she lied. She said there wasn't enough money when there was. Now, some poor bloke, some civil servant in the OBR, he's had to resign because they also leaked it half an hour before she was meant to give her poxy speech. But that's not the story. The story is her. Why did she lie to the British public? Did she lie in Parliament when she talked about what the budget deficit was? And then today he just kept laying it on. Oh, I was 16 billion off target, blah, 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 blah. He tried to make us feel sorry for him. I haven't got a scintilla of sympathy for him. I wouldn't piss on him if he was on fire, to use a colloquialism, if you don't mind me saying it. I cannot believe it. And at least I'll give the press their due. Both the guy on the BBC and indeed Beth Rigby tried to lay into him today. But he basically ignored their questions because they all make the fundamental mistake. They ask him two questions at the same time. That gives him multiple choice. He then decides to answer the easy question and ignore the difficult ones. The man is a dictator. The man is a disgrace. And the man's got to go. He's got the Midas touch in reverse. Sack Reeves and sack yourself. And I tell you what, give us a bloody general election and we'll decide who we want to lead us. Because it isn't you, Starmer. You are completely out of tune. Right, that's my say. What do you say? Am I going too far? Is it now time for Reeves and indeed for Starmer to go? And who would you vote for? Who do you want now? Farage? Tell me what you think. Let's get to your views. Starmer and Reeves, the lying thieves. They should resign, but they will not. So they have to go to the Tower of London for treason. Actually, the whole Labour Party should. Thank you, Beryl. She's wound right up and she's on Facebook. No, he's a compulsive liar. Same as Rachel Thieves, says Richard Bittner on Facebook. Thank you very much indeed. You go away, says Stuart Lowe. Please ignore the little man who said, go away. Say how it is, big man. I'm with you 100%, says John Malone on Facebook. Thank you very much. Joyce Cocken just says Jon Gaunt. I don't know what that's meant to be, but thank you very much. On YouTube, someone saw Britain. Someone said Britain is like the Titanic. The third-class passengers know it's sinking, whilst the first-class passengers are drinking champagne unaware whilst owning the lifeboats. Absolutely right. That is how it feels. It is how it feels. He thinks everything is well, I don't think he thinks, but he's trying to convince us that everything's okay when it clearly isn't. We have no borders. We have sex crimes left, right, and centre, not just with our own offenders, but with the ones he's let into the country. It's a complete and utter mess. And when he goes on about choices, I had to make choices. It's about kids not having to wear second-hand uniform. What was that about? I wore second-hand gear when I was a kid. I just didn't get any of that. Then there was a bit about, and I'm a free school dinners kid, by the way, just in case you didn't realise, after my mum died. So I don't need a patronising Burke. And then he said, oh, yeah, we sometimes didn't have enough money to pay. Absolute bullshit. His dad wasn't a toolmaker, and even if he was, he'd be earning good bread. His dad owned the factory. He lies. Every time he opens his mouth, he lies. Do you remember when he told that story about the woman up north who invited him in and gave him a lesson about racism? It was a lie. The woman said, No, that's complete and utter bullshit. He's a liar. He lied to get control of the Labour Party by pretending he was moderate, he was nothing like Corbyn, when actually he's a dyed-in-the-wool, well, I was going to say commie, but that's what it feels like. And when he says he had no choice, it was between giving that kid a proper school uniform and school meals and breakfast. What the fuck is breakfast clubs? We had no money. My dad didn't know how to cook, but he made sure we had something in our belly. That's a parent's responsibility, isn't it? Or am I just gammon? Am I just out of tune with the modern world? Well, if I am, stop the world. I want to get off. Have you ever seen that musical? Brilliant. Graham Fletcher. I wish I could read your tweets, but you blocked me. Well, you must have said something rude to me then, Graham Fletcher. Are you talking about tweets or Facebook? I'll send me a thing and I'll look up your name and I'll let you off again. But I'm, see it from my point of view. You probably said something objectionable. I thought I don't need this in my life, and I got rid of you because that's what I'm doing. It's my new stress-free way of living, Graham. You're right, lefty anyway, aren't you? But never mind. The war is here now on our own soil, says Pete Dawson. I think you're right, Pete. There are things that really need to be dealt with. And meanwhile, we've got two liars. Well, it's more than two. Mandelson, liar. Louise Haigh, liar. Rachel Reeves, definite liar more than once. Remember the nonsense about her CV. Who else have we got in there? Keir Starmer himself, liar. Lammy, thicko. Right? What is going on with our country? What is going on? And did you vote for them? I never. I voted Green. Like I told you, I wouldn't vote Green now. But I did vote Green then. I just think it's madness. And he thinks he's popular. Even though all the polls, though, he say he's not. He thinks he's being tough, giving us hard medicine, because that's what the country needs. He even started blaming the Tories again, all 14 years, it was this 14. But then he blamed Brexit. He is determined to take us back into the EU. Now, obviously, I was against the EU. I was all for Brexit. But I understand why some people have got reservations. But it's not for him to go against the democratic will of the British nation, is it? Right, there's 22 minutes. Is anybody going to donate tonight? If you fancy donating a few quid to keep these podcasts going, please just click the $sign and donate whatever you can, or go to www.buymeacoffee.com/Jon Gaunt. And of course, make sure you join my YouTube page, which is Jon Gaunt TV on YouTube, and it'll pop up or come up, and it will say, do you want to subscribe? Say yes. Doesn't cost anything, not a bean. And you also get access to my whole archive. I think I'm doing well tonight. I've got a bit of a problem with my microphone in my ears. I'm not quite hearing it the way I normally hear things. So if I sound a bit odd, that's probably what it is. And I must apologize for that. Right, let's move on, shall we? Let's go to Denise Deacon. It's as if the government are really only working for themselves and not for the electorate. They literally have no regard whatsoever for us, John, or what we want or think. Surely that is a true dictatorship. Well, as I say, I did a second show. Yes, not a second show, an extra show yesterday, Sunday. What a reaction I got. Massive, massive, biggest ever, I think. Because I said, he's a dictator. I thought long and hard about it, and I thought, no, I'm going to call him what I think he is. Because he thinks he knows better than us. And I'm absolutely convinced he hates us. Absolutely hates us. Stuart Lowe, I'm defo with you. Thank you, Stuart. Jackie Ward, I agree with you, John, that they are wrecking the country. But Starmer is too thick-skinned to resign. He doesn't care what we think. It's all part of his grand plan. I can't stand him. Well, again, Jack, I don't know if you were listening yesterday, but that's what I was talking about. I used to think he was thick, bit delusional. I still think he's delusional, but he's a highly intelligent, highly educated man. This is a plan. It's to demoralize us, divide us by making us hate all immigrants, because because of the small boats people, right? I don't think he would pull that one off because we are a tolerant, non-racist country. I thought well-controlled managed immigration has been good for the country. I'm sure you'd think that. But the small boats crisis is getting right on my TITSs because he could cure it and he doesn't do it. Why doesn't he do it? That's the question. So I think he's trying to depress us, make us disillusioned, make us just give up. And he's flooding the country with flip-flop warriors. There's no two ways about it. I despise him. Beryl Sanders says they showed no different. They showed it on different news channels. Rachel Reeves did lie on her CV. Yes, she did. You're right. Michael Yates, if Labour had to run the Sahara Desert, it would run out of sand. That's a brilliant one. Thank you very much indeed. He should be gone now with his party, Andy Gimmians. I don't like that term, Pete. It's a play on words on immigrants, right? Most immigrants who have come to our country have worked bloody hard and have made our country better, right? So don't use terms like that because it makes you out as if you hate all of them, which is ridiculous. And that's what he wants to do because he wants to portray you as a far-right thug. Then he can discount your opinions. This is the thing I've been talking about. Creation of a bogeyman so that, he can have a go at the rest of us. I mean, look at what's happening in Birmingham today. That chief constable who wouldn't allow Jews to go and see their football team play the Villa, right? I wouldn't let people go and watch the Villa anyway, but that's because it's the Villa. By the way, did you see Coventry? Well, yes, 3-1. But going back, it's now coming out that a lot of the evidence was bullshit. He must have been made, that chief constable, in the same politically correct woke factory as Starmer. He should stand down. He should be sacked as well. We can have a right sacking of it, couldn't we? If we actually get on with it. Hi, Craig, Marson. John, I totally agree with you about everything so far. Thank you. David KT, it's not just Starmer, John. It's the state, mate. This is on Facebook. Because they know we can't do anything about it until another Cromwell comes forward to close Parliament. As close Parliament is closed down and we start again. Well, yeah, I think that might be your fantasy, mate. I ain't got time to wait. I want some political leaders to come forward and give us real change. Because the uni-party system that we've got at the moment, the two-party system, has clearly failed. Where's the attack? I mean, give Kemi Badenoch a Jew, D-U-E. She didn't half jump in on Rachel Reeves last week. But then have you seen now that people are saying, oh, no, that's wrong. She was a bully. Just shut up with your bullying and your misogyny and your mansplaining and all the rest of it. And then they have a cheek today to talk about that David Gandy on to talk about how men are badly represented in the media. No wonder. Not allowed to be a man anymore. I think I might do a podcast on that. What is a man? Watch the violence if he succeeds to put us back in Europe. The guy is an idiot, says Pete Dawson. He's our Prime Minister, Pete. He is going to take us back in. By hook or by crook, he's taking us back in. He's going on about we need better coordination. I tell you what we need first, Starmer. My mate Rick, who runs a hotel, right, and runs bars, and my daughter, who works and runs and manages bars, what she wants is for you to shut up about giving people more on the minimum wage, to stop this NI nonsense, and to fund hospitality. That's what's needed in this country, but you can't see it, because if you went into any pub, Starmer, you'd be lynched. How many pubs are you banned from? You're banned in more pubs than anyone ever. All started with that bloke was in Devon or Cornwall. Could you imagine a night out on the P with Starmer? That'd be so much fun, wouldn't it? Hey, and with Rachel Thieves. Can you imagine what that'd be like? Do you want another pint, Starmer? Here you go. No, I'll just have a half. I can't. No, you're going to have a go at me now. Call me unreconstructed if you want. But any mate of mine or any bloke who chats up my daughters or whatever, or part of the extended family, I judge them. I shouldn't do this, but I do. If I go to the pub with them on a Sunday lunchtime and they suddenly say, I'll just have a half, I had one bloke, he shall remain nameless. He said, "Oh, well, I've had a drink with you now, John." It was with my father-in-law at the time, God rest his soul. He said, "I think I'll go back and help with the cooking." You what? Did I hear that right? You want to go back and help with the cooking? I give up. That's what's gone wrong with men. Emasculation. Don't get me wrong. You know I do most of the cooking in our house. But God's sake, be a man. Have a pint. Denise Deacon. You can join in on any of this whenever you want. Starmer. Never knowingly humble. Denise, you are a clever girl. You are. That's another good line, which I'm going to steal for you. He doesn't know how to be humble. He doesn't know humility. He's a typical lawyer, isn't he? Thinks he knows everything. Most of the people I studied with at university who went into law, they were a bit thick. They were a bit anal because you have to be, because you've got to remember all the cases and the rest. They weren't Rumpole or the Bailey or Michael Mansfield with a flair. Do you understand what I'm getting at? They were boring pedestrian tossers. Anyway, Mark White, 5661, says, if only our politicians put as much effort into making Brexit work, like they did arguing about it before, when they didn't want Brexit. Mark, you make a very good point. Starting with Theresa May, she deliberately derailed Brexit. Boris Johnson, well, he was with the hares and with the hounds, wasn't he? That's what he did. And then basically, they didn't want it. They just didn't want it. The powers that be didn't want it. And I'll tell you something there. I would include some very top industrious and newspaper and TV organizations. They didn't want it. John, I think the mainstream media will turn on him. Well, Craig, I'll tell you something about that. People are saying they were doing that today because they are attacking him because they know how unpopular he is. But whether they'll ever fully turn on him, I don't know. Let's have a look at this one. I was questioned on tape and cautioned. Now, you've read all this. You told me all this before, Beryl. I can't read it out because I haven't got him to answer, and you might drop me right in it. Hope you understand what I'm talking about, Beryl. That's a criminal case, which I don't know the facts. No wonder the country has no faith in our MPs. This is due to Starmer being total hypocrites and liars, Anne Reeves. Absolutely correct. And the damage that's going to do to the political thing, because people will say, no point in voting. They just do whatever they want to do. This is what Nigel Farage is caught onto, and indeed, in a way, Tommy Robinson. People are fed up of the old parties. But the worst thing about this is they might just get fed up completely. Then it'll be like a tinderbox. There was a manifesto. The main word, the only word on the cover of the Labour manifesto was change. I didn't realise that meant we'll change every fucking thing in the manifesto. But that, excuse my language, but that is what's happened. It's an absolute disgrace. They've attacked students, pensioners, farmers, publicans, hospitality trade. And then he goes on about, community and I'm working class. He's wrecking the very structures that bind the working class, the pubs, the clubs, people talking. He doesn't want us to meet and talk because he's a dictator. It's all part of the plan. Who's this from? William Roy 5423 on YouTube. How nice to hear the real truth. Well, I don't know if it's the real truth, but it's my truth. Taxi driver says, good evening, John. I've just tuned in. Yeah, I must say sorry. I did mention it a couple of times last week, but I'm pulling the show back to 6 o'clock. So the nightly show will be live at 6. And obviously today, some people haven't realised that. So I do apologise. Stuart Lowe says, Jimmy Savile was a good liar. Laugh out loud. There's nothing to laugh about Jimmy Savile. Let me tell you. I've got no money to send you, but myself and the missus send our best wishes, says the taxi driver. Well, you make sure you send loads of people to Jon Gaunt TV on YouTube and get them to subscribe, because that will help me as well. I think everybody is skint for Christmas. My donations the last 3 or 4 days have completely dried up. I'm being straight with you, right? But I've just got a bulwarker and given it to the budgie because that's going to be dinner Christmas Day, the way things are going. But no, joking aside, it's really has dried up. I think people are skint, but he wouldn't understand that, would he, Starmer? He just doesn't understand it. I hate him. Starmer learned his communist trade behind the Iron Curtain in his early days. That's absolutely true. It's on the record. Czechoslovakia or somewhere, wasn't it? John, David KT, I'm done. I'll never vote again. It's all BS. I was born free. I don't need to explain myself to anyone. God knew my name before I was born within the old walls of Coventry. I love it, Dave. I love your idealism. But in the end, that's the system we've got. So you've got to kind of participate. But I respect your opinion if you don't want to. Fair enough. Red Rock 1907. John, I was born in 62, and even if it was a slice of toast, my parents made sure we had something at breakfast. I recall them waiting for payday weekly. Then my sister and I had a tea meal. Our parents didn't. I'm the same. I told a story on this podcast once about when we used to go to Hull to see me nana and my aunties. That's where my mum and dad came from. I can remember Sundays there where the women had bread soaked in gravy. There wasn't, or another Yorkshire pudding, because there wasn't enough meat, because the meat went to the men. I'm not saying it's right, but I'm saying that's how tough times were. Reddick, thank you, man. Look at that. He's just donated £5 on a super sticker here on YouTube. Thank you very much indeed. It's the first donation I've had in days. You're a superstar. Red Rock 1907, a £5. And I'll tell you how easy that is to do. You just click the $sign and it asks him how much, and he's put a £5. Thank you very much indeed. Don't forget, you can also do it by going to www.buymeacoffee.com /Jon Gaunt. Leon Bream, I'm not reading out what you wrote because it's rude and it's offensive and you don't know if it's true. So, take your juvenile jokes somewhere else, please. I'm not having a go at you. I'm just saying. They should do PMQs on the set of the TV show. Would I lie to you instead of Parliament? Absolutely true. They should all be wired up to the electrics. And if enough of us at home, and we should, the red button on the phone, on your remote control. Question time and PMQs in Parliament, they should all be wired up. And if we think they're bullshitting, also when Starmer's doing a press conference, you can press the red button. If enough people press the red button, 10,000 volts up the jacksie, that'd keep them. Well, some of them would like it. Some of them pay for that anyway, don't they, already? If you believe the stories you read in the news of the Scrooge. But I reckon that'd keep them on track. It's just an image. It's just a joke. Okay. But I like that idea. No, they're calling you alt-right, lol. Is that what they call me? Alt-right. There's nothing alternative about me. I am right of centre. But that doesn't mean I'm a fascist, and it doesn't mean I don't believe in having a safety net of social security. But I also think it means looking after yourself, first and foremost. I mean, if you fall on hard times, God's sake, I know. When I got sepsis and ended up in hospital and nearly died, if it wasn't for the NHS, I would have died, right? On every level. If it wasn't for them. And then when I was recovering, which took nearly 2 years, I was on benefits. I was on the dole. I didn't get what did I get? 90 something quid. Now I'm not, because I managed to scrape enough from doing this. I'm not earning a fortune, so I know what it's like. But I still believe in the basic values. I believe in family values. You bring up your kids. If you're having a kid, your responsibility as a man doesn't stop when you roll off the woman and light up a cigarette. And that's what's wrong in our society. There ain't enough male role models. There ain't enough fathers. And I'm not blaming the mothers, by the way, because often these mums, they're fantastic what they try to achieve with their kids. But giving them money for breakfast, I'm not sure that's necessary. I think that's just typical middle-class socialist thinking. Myself. Maybe you think I'm wrong. So I'm alt-right, am I? Great, okay. Starmer is banned from my sister's pub permanently, says Jackie. That's what I like to hear. Banned a lot of them. Enid Patricia Mather. This Labour Party is making a complete joke of our government. I can't listen to him anymore, so I don't. It's easier to read all the complaints. Please get rid of them. They are a load of garbage. They certainly are. Talking of garbage, did you see Zara Sultana? She's an MP in Coventry. She's the MP for Fossil Road and the Gaza Strip. Her and Jeremy Corbyn had their party conference this weekend in Liverpool, that's right. And could have guessed that, couldn't you? And then on the first day, she wouldn't go because a load of people got expelled for having the temerity to be in a different party. So I don't understand it. But anyway, so she didn't attend. The second day she did, and she gave this speech. And if you get the chance, have a look at it on YouTube. It's so funny. It's like Militant. Do you remember her? Out of Viz. It's like you couldn't make it up, the bullshit she was coming out with. And she's an MP, but she became an MP. She's from Birmingham, but she became an MP for Coventry, for Labour, but then she's left the Labour Party. I don't think she should be allowed to carry on. Not just because she's Labour or your party, whatever it is now, but because she was elected in one. I don't agree with people. I see 3 people who were Conservative MPs today have now decided they're going to stand for a reform. I don't like it. I just don't like it. What we got here? Michael Yates. Oh, you top man, Michael. He's just donated a tenner. Well, $9.99. He must have done it on an Apple phone. For some reason, they take a penny off. But thank you. And that's a super sticker on YouTube. That is brilliant. So that's 15 quid. And I've been on for nearly an hour. Thank you very much indeed, Michael. I really appreciate your support. If this is the first time you've ever listened or watched me, don't forget it is on all the podcast channels, so you can put it on your phone and walk the dog if you really want to get your blood pressure up. And a lot of people do that. They listen the next morning. Or it's on video on YouTube, Twitter, and the rest of it. And that's at Jon Gaunt TV. So the first thing you need to do, if you like what I'm doing, is join Jon Gaunt TV. It's simple to do. You go to YouTube, look up Jon Gaunt TV, and a little pop-up comes up and it says, do you want to subscribe? Say yes. Doesn't cost any money. Then you'll be able to get all the archive of all my other stuff. And if you think this one's been good, you want to listen to some of the others. That's all I'm saying. Now, on top of that, if you think I'm good enough and you'd like to donate some money to keep these going, please, just click the little dollar sign, just like Michael did just then, and donate a £5, £2, 10 quid. 100 quid would be really good with Christmas coming, but whatever you can afford, don't stretch yourself. Or you go to www./Jon Gaunt. Is that right? No, www.buyme. No wonder I'm not getting any donations. www.buymeacoffee.com/Jon Gaunt, and you can donate whatever you fancy there as well. Charmaine Charleston made a good point. I brought my children up with no benefits, but I had 2 jobs. Well, that's a really good point you're making, an interesting point, because my mum, that's what she did. She earned, what they call it, pin money. At one point, she did, she had a Grattan's catalogue. I always remember doing Avon as well. Ding dong, Avon calling. She was also a dinner lady. That means walking around the playground holding little kids' hands. You'd get arrested for that now, wouldn't you? But there we are. That's what she did. And have I ever told you about my modelling career? I'll tell you about that another time. That's got you intrigued, isn't it? I thought I'd just mention, I think a night out with Starmer would be pointless, as all you'd hear from the landlords is, "You're welcome, Gaunty. Starmer, you're banned." As an aside, my proper name is Andrew. Thank you, Andrew. That's good stuff. I just want to say, can I just say something? I had a mate, right? His name was Ray Hoare, Hoare. He ran a pub in Coventry. Have you got time for a little story? This is a funny story. He ran a pub called the Town Wall Tavern. It's still there in Coventry if you want to go. It's got the smallest bar in Britain, in one of them. It's called the Donkey Box. You can only get 2 people in it. Anyway, he used to sell the best Brew 11 cask condition and Bass ale. It was a brilliant pub. And all the journalists from the Covent, when I used to employ journalists on the local paper, it's terrible, isn't it, what's happened to local papers? But anyway, all the journalists from there used to go in this pub at lunchtime and early doors, 5 o'clock. And then likewise, all the people who worked at the Belgrade Theatre, they used to all go in there as well. So it's a right mixture of journalists, camp so-and-sos, actors, stage crew, and then all other kinds of weird characters. There was loads of characters. It was a brilliant pub. It still is a brilliant pub. But there was a period when it was outstanding. Ray was married to a woman called Jo, and she cooked. She was the best cook in Coventry. And she made these pies. And when they had the Town Hall Tavern, there wasn't any, well, there was a choice. You either had the pie or you went hungry, right? A bit like how school dinners used to be. But the food was brilliant. And she had this kitchen. It was no bigger than a wardrobe. I'm not making this up, right? So we used to go in there lunchtime or tea time and would have a pie. So some days it'd be steak and kidney pudding. Other days it'd be, she did a rabbit one. She did a game one. Oh, just fantastic. I mean, the food was fantastic. So was the beer. But Ray kind of got it in his head that most people came for the beer. He was that kind of bloke, right? Which wasn't necessarily true. But two quick funny stories about him. He used to have over the toilet exit where the toilets were outside in those days. It said student entrance, right? And students, he meant get out, basically. And I always remember one night, it was cold, it was raining. This pub stands on its own because it was all pretty much desolate around there. But the pub was a hive of activity. Everyone's had a few jars. About 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, it's raining like cats and dogs outside. And suddenly the door of the bar opens and in trundles this German guy with his wife, right? And the whole bar goes quiet because they know that Ray, who's known for not necessarily for his international diplomacy, shall we say, is bound to say something. So the German goes up to the bar and he makes the cardinal sin, commits the cardinal sin. He doesn't order a drink. He asks a question. So he says to mine host, I can't do the accent, but he basically said, can you tell me the way to the cathedral? The whole pub, like in that werewolf film, the whole pub stops. People don't drink. There's no noise. And Ray goes, why don't you fuck off? You found it very well during the Blitz. And the German guy, right, this is about 1970, didn't know what to say. He turned and shuffled back out into the cold, cold night. And then everybody laughed. Looking back on, very politically correct, is it? But that's it. He had a Rhodesian Ridgeback dog. You know what they look like? They look like a fat Labrador. Again, the bloke made a cardinal sin. It was lunchtime, and he comes into the pub. And he goes, "Who owns that fat Labrador?" The whole pub goes quiet. But so Ray is, I think he must have been in the cellar. So he comes up from the bar and he goes, "I do. Why?" And he goes, "Well, the fat. He's lying in the middle of the road, and no one can get past him." He said, so Ray says, "He'll move in a minute. And by the way, it is not a fucking fat Labrador. It's a Rhodesian Ridgeback." And the guy says, "I don't care what it is. Move it." That's where the story will end because you don't need to know the rest of it. But anyway, he was a character. How did I get on talking about him? Richard Pope says he owned the Greyhound at Sutton Stop years ago. He told me off for not finishing my pie, which was his speciality. Richard, you're right. That's him. Same guy. I was there one night as well when a bloke came in. He ordered a pint of Bass and he said, "Can you put a lemonade top on it?" Again, the pub goes quiet. Ray says, "What?" He says, "A bit of lemonade, just in the..." He says, "I know what you mean." He says, "Well, a bit of lemonade in the top of my Bass." The Bass was his pride and joy. He leant over the donkey box and said, "Why don't you fuck off? This isn't a cocktail bar." And booted him out. I got on with him well. I don't know why, but there we are. He's not around anymore. Well, he is around. He lives in Spain now. Right, that's just done. Michael Yates, I've just done you. Josh Gold Bullion, that's a good name. He's just given me a £5. Josh, thank you very much indeed. That's a super sticker. If you've liked the stories, you could perhaps now just donate a couple of quid. I remember the pink, John, says David KT. You don't mean me being pink. You mean the newspaper. Yeah. Every city had one of them, didn't they? Late night on a Saturday, about 6 o'clock, all the results, because you didn't even have teletext in those days. You got a copy of the pink, and it was great because it had all the local football results, didn't it? And news about all the different bits. No. See, that's when local papers were local papers. We've lost something with that, in my opinion. Anyway, so yeah, I remember the pink as well. Thank you, Dave. Where am I going next? John, thank you for everything you do. I don't know how I do anything. I just tell my stories. We want Alex Belfield back. Well, go to prison. You can go. Do you like him? Please don't compare me to him. He's a twat. But anyway, it's each to their own. If you like him, go and listen to him. But what do you mean back? He was in prison, wasn't he, for saying some pretty horrible things about presenters. He's never had a go at me. I felt that was a shame. I'd like shut up, John. Anyway, I'm finishing. We tried to have a conversation about Starmer. I think we almost succeeded. I'll be back tomorrow at 6 as well. So see if you can join in then. As I say, that's when I'm doing them. I want to just say again, thank you for Sunday's show. And if you've not listened to Sunday's show, you can get it now. It's still obviously there. Just go to Jon Gaunt TV on YouTube and you'll see the program and have a listen or watch. Jackie Ward sent me the 3 love hearts. I've got to find out whether, what's her name? It's fallen out with me. The lady who's a Cov fan. She asked me about Had You Right, and I was a bit rude about it. Had you? I don't know whether she's taken that person. I hope you haven't. I've forgotten your name as well, which is bad, isn't it? Anyway, I shall find it out, and I shall give you a special mention tomorrow. Right, that's me done. I hope you enjoyed it. And look at this. It's 8 minutes to 7. I'll be downstairs. Got plenty of time to get a glass of wine before I watch EastEnders. That's how exciting my life is. Another show tomorrow. Have a listen to the one that I did for Sunday. And also have a listen to the one I did Friday, because I did an extra one on Friday as well. So have a listen to that. There's a whole load of shows there, right? And obviously, the more you view, the better for me as well. It all helps the algorithm. Thank you very much indeed. If you want to comment, if you want to talk to me in between the shows, go to Jon Gaunt TV on YouTube and you can join in the conversation there as well. So until tomorrow, if you've got kids, give them a kiss, give them a hug. Hey, 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 don't forget to tell them you love them. See ya. Bye.